What's up? What's up? What's up? How are you? What's up, everybody?
Hey,
Hello, hello. How are you?
how was your day, man?
It's pretty good. Pretty good. Can't complain. You know, cannot complain.
Yeah.
Very busy. Yep.
I
How
I
was your
had
day?
somebody trying to sling I had somebody trying to sling some nonsense my way and I called him on it. So,
Oh man, what happened?
oh, they reached out to me with a 14 plus 128 unlocked. Um, was saying that the box had gotten water damage, but it was otherwise in brand new condition,
Mm-hmm.
perfect phone, no damage, yada yada. And wanted to know how much I'd give him for it. And I asked for the IMEI, and of course, when I looked up the IMEI, the phone was unlocked and everything, but he had been using it, so the iCloud was on. And I told him he'd need to remove that before purchase. And he bought it back in December, so I said, "Dude, this phone is 3 months old. That's not new. It's used." I said, I'd give this much. What was that? I told him. I said, I think I told him I'd give him like 260, 270 for it. Because I know on the buyer list they're marking it at 340, I think it was.
Uh huh.
And he said, "Oh, I'm gonna go to Backdoor because they're gonna give me 4.5, 5." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." So I looked on Backdoor, which I guess is another refurbish outfit,
Okay.
and I entered in the exact parameters that he had told me his phone was in, and I reached back out to him. I said, "Well, they're going to give you 330, not no 4.5, 5. Good luck if you change your mind. I'm still here."
Yeah. The guy was trying to lie.
So,
You know.
yep.
That
I mean, I
happens.
don't know. I don't know. I'm assuming he was lying. I don't know where the hell he got the idea that he was going to get 4.5 from, but he's probably just slinging nonsense. So.
Yeah. And again, that happens. One thing I
Yeah.
can say is when it
It was
comes
good. I guess on the other end, it's kind of good to know about another. It's kind of good to know about another refurbish. Possibility as far as if you're able to pick up damaged phones, whatever's to flip to refurbishers. For resale. So
mm-hmm.
I got a potential place that you can sling stuff to, so to speak, out of the conversation. I guess at least.
Yep, yep, yep.
So
Yeah, I have
because I know. I,
one
I
of
know
my
I know
guys
I
coming
know
on too later as well. Hopefully,
who's coming on.
somebody that has been flipping phones for a while, but in a different
Oh,
way.
your new guy that you were the new guy that you were talking about here about what 4 or 5 days ago?
Yeah, he should be coming on today. Um,
Sweet,
so that's something
sweet,
else for us to talk about as well. So he's pretty experienced.
awesome,
Um, he
good
he
stuff.
he he actually introduced me to my first 100K. He One thing about me that I think is really cool within myself is I'm a very loyal person, but I'm also somebody that doesn't forget who introduced me to things. Like I'm not gonna forget who
Right.
taught me something, and just because I took advantage of it and did X, Y, and Z. I never forget
Yeah.
about the people that actually sparked that interest in me. So I'm interested to pick his head because he's no longer he wasn't dealing with it any longer at all. He
Uh-huh.
moved to a different space, so it's just him trying to get back into it.
He
But
moved out of phone flipping, in other words, or
um, yeah, phone flipping. Um, the difference is his phone flipping was him really honestly not knowing he was phone flipping. It was like literally him just getting phones from people, cashing them out, and then just selling to a buyer. And I never
okay.
understood how he was doing it. But he was a college student, a college basketball athlete, and he had to make money some way.
He was
So
doing it as a side hustle kind of thing. I got
exactly,
you.
yeah, because they don't make any money, especially basketball players in college. Well, now
Yeah.
they do, but they didn't back
Yeah,
then.
they got to put in their time before they start getting the pros and all the people trying to like court them, so to speak. I got you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Other than that, so when it comes to that person that you were just talking about, um, they walked away. I'm assuming they just walked away. I guess.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
asking
Well,
you.
oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were still talking about your guy. I got disconnected there.
No, no.
He hasn't well, let's see. I'll read you the exact text. Give me a second here. I'll open it up and I'll see because I haven't seen him respond.
Other than
Let's
that,
see.
guys, so one thing I want to say is Price List did update. I'm putting the final touches on it because it updated pretty late. At this time, people overseas are getting active, so and waking up and stuff. So pretty late update, but it is updating. I will update some prices live today. Um,
Yeah.
I'm going to canvas
Yeah.
offer up as well while we're live. Go, what you say?
Oh, I was going to answer your question, but I didn't want to interrupt. I was saying, yeah, basically what I told him is I said, I seriously don't understand how they're paying you that much as they're
Hold on,
not
Andrew.
worth it, but I
1 second.
oh, go ahead.
Hey, Mar, what's up?
Hey man,
I'm live.
get this membership.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna text you in a second. All right. What you say, Andrew?
I was saying basically what I told him is I said, I seriously don't understand how they're paying you 4.5, 5. They're not worth that much. But I said, thank you for the tip as far as places to sell. And I went back and then I responded to him after I checked out the site, about 10, 12 minutes later. And I said, honestly, you're going to get about 330 or so from them. They're refurbishers, I said, but my offer stands. Take care of yourself.
Yep, and you left your contact. I'm assuming some way to contact you.
Well, he was already texting me, so he knows how to reach
Yeah,
back
yeah,
out,
okay.
And on top of that, of course, he's going to have to wait for the phone to ship and, wait for the funds to be dispersed and all that. Because I will say one thing cool about this company is I guess you reach out to them, you tell them what you have, and then they send you a free shipping label and you ship it in. So that's kind of nice, I guess, as far as if you're going to sell to a refurbisher.
So what have you been? Have you made any other offers today? Have you did any type of
I'm still kind of in limbo because my runner down there is dealing with the vehicle fiasco,
Okay.
and I don't really want to line people up for potential deals and then have to tell them, oh, sorry, I got to put you off. I don't want to screw up relationships and piss people off to where there won't be repeat business in the future, if that makes sense. So.
Okay. So I see right here, guys, on offer up an iPhone 14 128 used for T-Mobile 2 weeks. Not unlocked, but they can get it unlocked. I just want to point this out to everybody watching this. Now or later, whenever anybody says it is used for 2 weeks and then it is followed up with T-Mobile not unlocked, but I can get it unlocked. How the heck can they get it unlocked and they only use it for 2 weeks? So
I know personally you can get Verizon and AT&T unlocked, but of course the device still has to be paid off.
right.
As far as T-Mobile, I understand they're a nightmare to get paid off.
So exactly. So what I'm trying to say is basically what's going to end up happening is this person cannot get it unlocked at all. Because if they used it for 2 weeks, let's just hypothetically say they got the device within 2 weeks, that device is still going to be locked to an account. It takes with T-Mobile at least 60 days for you to even be able to get your device unlocked. Even if you were a customer on an account and had the exact cash to pay the device off, you cannot pay the device off once you get that account. T-Mobile has a strict policy to where you cannot buy phones and just get them unlocked. You have to have the service for at least 60 days. So what
right,
I
I understand Verizon. I understand Verizon does it like that too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, maybe. Yep. Yeah, I
They
believe so.
they used to be the easiest, but not anymore.
Well, yeah, their phones used to be unlocked, but they stopped that just to combat the fraud. The fraud plague that was going on. Honestly, there was a whole bunch
Mm-hmm.
of fraud. People were just hitting Verizon upside the head, and Verizon was
Yeah.
losing so much money.
Everybody loved to love them, so to speak.
Hmm. Yeah, they are definitely one of the. They are like right next to Sprint when it comes to taking losses. They have taken so many losses, so many losses. I
Well, at
know
least they're not
personally.
like Sprint.
Oh yeah, not yet. No, not yet. That's because they
Yeah.
lock their devices now. They lock their devices and they have a really strict policy with business accounts now.
Yeah.
Really strict. Um, but so for iPhone 14, right? When I looked that up on the price list, just in general, I have a spreadsheet of what a buyer paid somebody today for iPhone 14, and it wasn't great. So like, one thing. What's up, Ryan? What's up, man? How are you? One thing I want to say is anything base model 14, 15, even the 13 ain't worth even making an offer. But I'm going to make an offer with this individual because I want to utilize just this as content. Because I'm going to actually see, if he can get this phone unlocked for me. I want to see how much he's going to charge me to get this unlocked. So I'm going to actually play that game. So I'm going to say, hey, how much for you to get the phone unlocked? How long do I have to wait? Now, I tend to like to experiment with things like this to learn new techniques. But here's the weird thing. His account is he has an okay account. That's the weird thing, but it's not his profile picture, which is kind of skeptical. Ryan, what's up, man? What you got going on? It's kind of skeptical though because he has 44 reviews and they're all 5 stars. So this might be his only 1-star transaction he might embark on. Trying to sell a locked iPhone 14 and saying he can get it unlocked immediately. Because if you could get that phone unlocked, I would sell it unlocked from the beginning.
Can I ask a question to unpack that a little bit?
Yeah, yep.
As far as you being curious about his 44 5-star reviews, what's the suspicion there potentially that like he's utilizing some sort of like Fiverr or some damn thing to gimmick the rating or?
No, it's just to be transparent. I would expect better from him. As far as him listing an iPhone 14 for a certain price, and then saying he can get it unlocked, because I honestly, looking at the 44 reviews, would just assume that he's good business. But if I, since I'm experienced, in
you're
this
saying basically what he's offering
different
versus his ratings, it doesn't add up. I got you.
It doesn't add up. So it could be an account takeover, which people do. They do take over accounts. You also have people that buy OfferUp accounts now, because OfferUp has become more strict. So what OfferUp now does, they don't let you have duplicate accounts. They also will ask you for an ID. When it comes to, now they ask you for ID in general, but they'll ask you for re-verification when it comes to you like doing a certain amount of activity. I've heard a lot of different things. So a lot of people are on OfferUp and it's not on their profile. Hence, when you see a girl profile picture, but you meet up and it's a whole guy, that happens a lot.
Right.
A lot.
Yeah, and I know they don't allow you to do those marketplace ads like you recommend doing to get passive leads nearly as often anymore. I've been putting them up about every 3rd or 4th day, but you can't put them up every day.
Yeah, I'm sure not. Yeah, because they definitely are updating a lot of things with OfferUp, because I think they're trying to stay afloat. One thing about OfferUp is OfferUp, believe it or not, is hanging on by a thread. So they're trying to
makes
make
you
money.
say that?
Just talks around town.
Interesting.
Just getting intel and knowing certain people. But the reason why I say that is because they're trying to figure out a way to charge people for listing. Oh,
okay. Like I've said before, your analysis of the marketplace is really like insightful. So when you
Yeah.
make comments, I'm gonna
Yeah,
ask you to
yeah.
unpack that so I can try to figure out what you're thinking, so to speak.
No, no, no. Yeah. So they in Philadelphia, I know. I'm not sure in other areas, but they did start a little pilot program where if you wanted to list phones, you had to pay. And I remember that it was during like the end of last year. You had to pay in order to actually
Hmm.
list, um, in order to actually list phones. You had to actually pay
Uh-huh.
a fee. Where did that go? Okay, you had to pay a fee, but nobody was paying it, so they went away with it.
I know I was talking with somebody recently in the Discord about the appeal of potentially getting the premium account on offer up, and I said, well, it kind of depends. I said,
Hmm.
if you're finding that you're actually getting, more expedient response, etc., when you're listing your phones,
Right.
and when you're picking up phones, etc., if you're able to pick up even just one or two devices that much faster per month, actually paying for the premium account, which I think is like what, 15 per month, makes sense. But if you're not seeing the difference, to me it's like, you know what I mean? You'd have to test it and see.
Yeah. So I would never get a premium account. Never. Now the reason I wouldn't get a premium account, I don't know. So the way my brain thinks is I like my money. Like I love my money, and I don't put my money out there unless it's going to give me three times what I put out, and that's just for everything. So when it comes to like premium, like I see a lot of phone stores around me actually have the premium, and
Hmm.
they have that premium because when you, of course, when they inbox you, it stays at the top and all of that. But me, I'm fine doing it organically. I'm an old fashioned type of guy. I'm cool. I
Yeah, like
understand
I
it.
said, it depends on how much faster it's coming to you. Like you said,
Yeah,
if it doesn't pay for itself, it don't make sense.
it don't make sense. You're right. Yeah, like there's a lot of premium services now that honestly, it's not worth it to me. It's not worth it to me,
Well,
but
I'm
it could be worth it to some other people, of course.
Yeah, it's kind of like that EIN thing you talked about the other day about you can go to IRS or you can pay, was it 15 or 20 bucks? I mean, they both work, but are you actually getting anything out of it, so to speak? If you're getting something, it makes sense. If you're not, you're just pissing your money away.
Exactly, and that's what we as businesses or business individuals we got to be really cautious about that because as time goes on and more money you spend, I don't care. And this is with a lot of people. I have a guy who just lost his job. He's a mentee, lost his job,
Oh
and
no.
I definitely feel for him. And we have had private conversations, and I've heard and
That's
felt
rough.
his desperation, but at the same time, you have to understand because one thing I asked him was, "You don't have any money saved?" And he said, "No." Now this
Yeah, most
individual,
people,
go ahead.
especially right now, I was going to say most people right now are living hand to mouth because everything's so damn tight.
But one thing I would say is this: this is actually a young kid, I say I believe 19, 20 years old,
Okay.
still living with his parents. And I told him, I'm like, that's when you should be saving your bread up. And to any young individual listening to this, I'm not saying this to call that individual out. What I'm trying to get at is it is so important to mind your profit, mind your money. Like keep your expenses intact. Financial literacy is not taught in school fully for that purpose.
At all.
They want
At
you to
all.
be, in a hole so that you have to rely, and
Yeah.
that's just not a good feeling to lose your job, man.
They want you subservient, Brandon. Let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, exactly.
That's why they don't teach it.
They want you exactly, and I felt bad, but
he doesn't have anything built. He doesn't have anything built up like in inventory or cash.
well, he
You know,
just became a
capital, so to
mentee.
speak.
That's the thing. He literally just became. So I talked to him months and months and months ago, but I don't pressure people to join a mentorship at all. Like I don't pressure you at all. Like I won't even like I barely do videos on it, which is my fault to be honest. But like I just don't pressure people, and I didn't pressure him. And I guess one day he just woke up and was like, you know what, I'm ready to do it. He did it. Starting this month, actually, I believe. And lost
For
his,
sure.
yeah, so he didn't even get a chance to really
Damn,
get started. So
that's
sucks.
hard, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Hopefully it turns around for him. Oh, when you
hopefully.
have a minute and you want to talk about it, I had some feedback about something that happened on Mercari too.
Okay, yep, 1 second. So guys, these Apple Watches, I don't
problem.
care about this price this person's talking about, but these Apple Watches are sealed. That's the reason why I'm contacting this person. I'll buy them, but I will tell you guys from my experience what I'm dealing with right now. I have a whole bunch of Apple Watches that are not sold. So Apple Watch Ultras, they sell pretty well. I like Apple Watch. I like the Ultras. I do not like SEs. Because they don't really sell, and consumers don't even want Apple Watches. That's the sad part. A lot of people do not want Apple Watches, so it's hard. I used to be able to upsell them, but it's not working out that way. So we'll have to go to a buyer, and they're paying pennies for an iPhone.
What were you upselling?
For an Apple Watch SE Gen 2, prime example. You're going to be getting, and I'm pulling up a spreadsheet of what somebody paid. For a 44, they only paid 180, and that's not even okay for a SC generation. And I understand it's the SC model, which is the bare bones model, but it doesn't matter. I'm looking for, I upsell it to answer your question, Andrew. Usually 250 is what I'm trying to get. I'll list it on OfferUp for probably 300, but I definitely listed and want to get 250. I used to be able to get 250 so easily, but that's usually during the holidays, to be honest. Now it's just like Apple Watches just suck. But what were you about to say about your feedback though?
I had some feedback with a guy who reached out to me after I listed some of those earpods, whatever, with the lightning connector.
The iPhone 7 headphones, yeah.
Yeah. And posted them based on a sold listing that showed a legit like Apple box, etc., with the logo on it and everything. And of course I posted in the listing, due to packaging constraints, box may not be included in shipment. And he reaches out to me and goes, "Oh man, do you have these? I think I talked to you about this." I said, "Could you do 8 with free shipping?" And I commented, I'm like, "Nah, not today, man." I said, "Shipping is too deadgum much." I said, "But if you're interested in bundling, maybe we could make something happen there." And he goes, "Well, how many of these do you have?" And I was like, "Okay, well, I don't want to tell him that I have like 10, 20, 30, whatever, So I said, "Well, right now I have 3." I said I could do 2 for like 10.5 plus shipping, or I could do 3 for like 15 plus shipping. And he goes, "Okay, cool, I'll take all of them." He goes, and he goes on. He goes, "I only buy sealed devices though." And I was like, "Oh, like I said in the listing,
Right.
depending upon shipping constraints, may not come with the box. So if that's an issue for you, sorry that I wasted your time, but I'm looking at getting my shipping as cheaply as possible, not paying high shipping, just to make sure you get it with the box." So he hasn't commented back since then. So
yeah, because that was his motive the whole time. What's up,
Yep.
Hibachi? What's up, Black Sheep? I see you entered the chat,
Oh,
man.
what's up, bro? Hey, what's up, bro? Hey, what's up, bro?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
What's up,
What's
chat?
up, man? Nothing much, man. I got my guy Andrew on as well, man. Andrew, this is Black Sheep. Black Sheep. This is Andrew. Andrew,
Nice, nice,
his
nice to meet you, Black Sheep. I'm Red Emperor.
Nice
yeah,
to meet you, Red Emperor.
his name is really Dom. So we're just gonna put that out there. His name is Dom.
Or
No
Black
worries.
Sheep.
Yeah, or Hibachi. You know, that's his name on the court. You know what I mean?
Or the Black Sheep.
But I wanted to actually talk to you. And Andrew, feel free to add to the conversation as well. But
Sure.
I'm proud and happy that you were able to join us. But what I wanted to ask you, this is weird calling you different names. So what name do you want me to call you on the internet? Let's just end it there. What name? Let's just make this simple. Black Sheep. Are you paying attention?
Yeah. I
What
thought
what?
you was talking to Red Emperor. My
Oh
bad.
no, I'm talking to you. You want me to call you Black Sheep, Hibachi? What you want me to call you?
Black Sheep.
All
Black
right,
Sheep
Black
on
Sheep.
here.
All right, so this
I
is
feel,
it.
I feel like I want to channel Morgan Freeman from Shawshank. Call me Red.
Yeah. So okay. So now when it comes to the reason why I wanted you to come on is one. I know you don't do internet. I know you have not really been on the internet. I remember trying to get you on the internet. But it was pretty difficult because, of course, doing something new like this is sort of kind of, it's not easy, right? Um,
Scary as hell.
yeah, exactly. So what I wanted to ask you is, what is your take on phone flipping? Now, I understand you don't phone flip currently, but I know for a fact you have phone flipped. I want you to just walk me through the evolution that you've seen on your day doing phone flipping, and how much money do you think you came across just phone flipping in general? Now, when I say phone flipping, I'm talking about just getting phones and selling them to a buyer like the one we both know, that we first started off with. But like, how much do you think in an estimate did you make literally being able to sell to a buyer, a in-state buyer?
Off when I would flip a phone, I probably would make like around $600-700 profit off each device,
Damn.
depending on like, you know, what gigabytes I was selling. But it all depends on like what year you're talking about, because you know certain years phones were like easy to flip, and then
Well, just
other
starting out.
years phones
Like,
starting out,
yeah.
it was about five. Honestly, starting out, it was like around 300-400, because that was back when the BlackBerry Storms were out,
Yeah.
Damn.
and when the new iPhone 3G came out, the BlackBerry Storm. That's when the Sidekick was kind of going out of style. That BlackBerry Storm came. Yeah, that was when the evolution of the touchscreen phones came. And
Okay.
those BlackBerry Storms and those iPhones, they were about $400, $500, and like now, the iPhones are almost $2,000. So it
Those
started
sound like the
then, bro.
golden days, man.
Yeah, it was, because everything was cheaper, but even the cost of living was cheaper back then. But like
Yeah.
the average went up, like my profits went up as inflation went up. So that's one of the good things about flipping phones, is that you're always ahead of the ball game with inflation. Like if prices increase, you're going to be getting higher prices on the phones, and then as the phones get more technical and not logical and more
Yeah.
sophisticated and stuff like that, it's like once you get that art of phone flipping down pat, you could kind of just go with the times. But yeah, bro, it kind of like went from like 500 to about like 700, and then there's been times I've made like $1,500 profit, $1,200 profit, like if I was selling iPads and stuff like that. So
That's
it
Yeah.
fluctuates. But
And-
yeah.
I know. I was talking with Educated Hustler the other day about the fact that, mid '90s, early 2000s, a freaking McDonald's hamburger was like $3, and now it's $11, $12 for a freaking meal. So like you said, inflation.
Yeah.
Man, inflation is a silent killer.
And one thing that Black Sheep brought up that I think I'm like, wow, like I really didn't even think of this, but I do flipping phones really is never affected by inflation in a negative way, because you always get paid more, or you can always literally deprive, or I would say, I won't say deprive, but you can get phones cheap because people are so desperate. Now, I
Right.
remember making my first 30K with Sprint. I made my first 30K flipping Sprint phones, and that's what I think Black Sheep, I think that we were able to, um, you taught me a lot. And that's what I was saying in the beginning. Like, I wouldn't even be in this game if it wasn't for you. Um, because, we were hustling in high school trying to figure out ways to make money. And then I just remember you teaching me the power of an iPad. I remember the first conversation I had with you about finding iPads to buy and then flip, and you telling me how much they actually were worth. Um, that's what changed. That's what changed. I think that's what really started me with the whole flipping aspect in this regard, besides phones. So what I would say is, from your experience, what is like the positive of flipping phones, and what's like the negative?
I would say that the positives of flipping phones is, the actual, just doing it. It's easy. It doesn't take a lot of work,
Yeah.
and it's like, taking a thought and like making it, turning it into the physical. It's like you feel like it feels good to find a deal and to flip a phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Another good thing is that phones will always be in demand.
Right.
Like everybody always needs a phone, no matter if it's an older phone or a new phone. Like they're in high demand. And then another thing is, by you flipping phones, you stay on top of what's
Yeah.
technologically
Yeah.
new. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? You don't get outdated from, technology, because it's moving so fast and so quick. Like now they got these Vision Pros out that I'm eager to take a look at. And it's like, it's mind blowing to me, because like to turn your phone into virtual reality and be able to like have a workspace that's literally anywhere where you're at, and it just pops up, and you have that full privacy to be able to work and like totally just, you know, zone in. Those are like the,
Yeah.
I would say the best parts. The negative parts is, the number one negative part for me, through my journey,
Yeah.
was, making sure I save my money. You know what I mean? That was number one,
Yeah.
because
I was
the phone
just talking
game is
about that.
like, it moves around like the seasons. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the negatives. Another one of the negatives is not having too high expectations. Not passing up a low profit for a big profit. It's like you get used to those big profit sales, but sometimes those little 15% return 20%, like they're not little at all. Like you make a 15-20% on the stock market, you can get a million investors to invest with you. You get what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
like, those are like the big things. It's like, okay, yeah, the $1,500 profits, the $700 profits, I kind of got fixated on those. And what really changed me and what really helped me out was getting fixated on the percentages. Like, what percentage am I making on my money by buying this phone and selling it to this person?
And you
And
That's
what
another.
mean
That's
like
what
getting a
another
return, right?
positive. Yeah.
Okay.
Another positive is the relationships that you build.
Mm.
right?
It's so diverse. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I know a guy from the Cayman Islands. I know a guy from Texas. I know a guy from California. We know so many people in Jersey and New York and Philadelphia. It's just the diversity of like, in the phone flipping game, you don't have to deal with racism and all of that. You know what I mean? It's
Yes,
just,
sir.
it's all cold
Yeah,
cut.
no,
And it's
no,
like,
no bias. Everybody just trying to make their money.
yeah, everybody's trying to make their money. And it's like, you'll find yourself having a drink or having a sip with somebody that, it's like, wow, like, I never would have thought this person would have been cool or that person would have been cool. And then you end up just being able to like go into different crowds and meet different people, like just from being able to build those connections. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It
exactly.
seeps into other parts of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is what
Let
I
me
mean.
ask you this. Based on the fact that you're talking about not necessarily fixating on those, $500, $600, $700 profits, what in your personal opinion these days is like what you would consider to be an acceptable profit? I know personally when I'm trying to do phone flips, I try to go, my aim personally is to try to make about 20% or basically about a $70 minimum on a phone if I can.
Yeah, nah, you hit it right on the money with that. That's what I would have, about 20%. Like anything below 20%, I'd be like, nah, 20% is like, I don't know if you've ever read this book called The Snowball Effect by Warren Buffett, but he talks about the power of percentages and how they compound. So that 20% compounded, like let's say you get a 20% flip 10 times, it's 200%, return on your money. Or if you do it 100 times, you know what I'm saying? So that snowball effect is like one of the seven wonders that Albert Einstein was like
I believe
so
Benjamin
amazing on.
Franklin said the eighth wonder of the world, or it was an Einstein. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right. It
I
was.
think it
He
might have
said
been Einstein or
the eighth
Franklin.
wonder of the world. Yeah.
Yeah, yup, the eighth wonder of the world, yup. So it was
Yeah,
just like,
it was either Franklin or Einstein. I remember that.
yeah. So it's like, and it's nobody really talks about percentages, it's like the bread and the bread is definitely number one, but like to like just not be as stressed, you know what I'm saying? And just kind of, like, all right, like that those percentages always get you and keep you above water, and it'll, you'll be able to reach your, your quotas,
Right.
at a good pace. Cause
Yeah.
like me, like my downfall was like, if I got a lot of money, like knowing how to save it, like it took me years to learn how to save.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Years.
building something long term, so to speak,
So
makes sense.
so I was just talking about that, like when it comes to like flipping phones. So it was days where
Or your
I would be
conversation about AirPods.
right. But it would be days where I was able to make. I would be able to get phones 10 at a time. You know what I mean? All sealed, and I would be able to negotiate to the point to where I'm paying pennies on a dollar for these devices, right? And I'm making and bringing in probably anywhere from 2,500 a day. And this was 2020, I believe. And I'm sitting in a penthouse. Life is good. It's boring, but it's good. You know what I mean? I don't have to really do much.
Are you
But
still in Philly?
yeah, I was still in Philly. But it was just like when you get that much money, you blow that money because it's like you get that money so effortlessly that you never appreciate it.
Easy
And
money is fast money.
easy money is fast money. And I think it's a gift and a curse because it's like that's why I'm so eager to try and tell people not to do Facebook ads. I'm so upfront when it comes to like putting your money into certain things because I've done it all. Like I've put my money into ads. I put my money into different little accounts and things that I would think would help me, and it helped me, but it didn't bring me the money back. I didn't get a return, right? So, but I didn't care about getting a return because I knew I was just gonna be able to get the money right back. But like that is where I think money management comes in. You're never going to be a successful flipper if you do not understand money management. If you don't understand how to put your money back in instead of taking some out and using it for luxury. Like I remember me and Black Sheep, we would go take flights and go different places, and we were still flipping phones, but we were spending the money. We flipped the phone. We were just spending the money, and that's where I
Spending
think
it
It
fast
was going
money,
out like gas, right?
yeah. Yeah, I remember, yeah.
It was going in the tank. It was going right there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember one time me and Black Sheep were in Miami, and something had just irritated me, and I wanted to leave and come back home. I booked the next flight, but the flight was 1,000 something. I'll never forget that because it was just a last minute flight, and it was just
Ouch.
like dumb stuff like that, like just spending money. Um, and this is for all of the young people out there, like the guy who just lost his job. Um, that's in this situation to where he doesn't have any money, and he's trying to figure out, hey, what I'm gonna do next. And I feel
Yeah, I
sad
know.
for him, but it's nothing I can do. And also, this is a lesson you need to learn. You know what I mean? Go ahead, Andrew. Before I continue, go ahead.
Oh, it's all good. I was gonna say, I know I have to argue with my youngest son all the time because he wants to go
Mm-hmm.
out to eat, and I'm like, dude, that's not a daily freaking occurrence. That's a luxury, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
You need
yeah.
to stop pissing away your money all the time, you know.
Yeah, and and another thing, guys, if you have watched my video where I say where I explain how I started phone flipping, if you guys remember, I said I worked at Sam's Club. I said I worked at
Mhm.
Sam's Club, and I told you guys I went into a parking lot, and I was crying my behind off to my best friend. I was crying my behind off like the world was going to end. The person I was crying to was Black Sheep. That's the person I was crying to. That's the person that I called, and I was like, yo, they fired me. I ain't never going to get another job like this. Everything. And he was just like, bro, it's going to be all right. And that's what woke me up. Like, I have conversations with people daily, and I tell them what actually woke me up was getting fired. Okay, so if you are somebody that doesn't have a job, if you're somebody that is a seasonal worker, if you're somebody that is not happy with your paycheck, if you're somebody that is miserable at work, I know a young lady that was being harassed at work, but she couldn't quit because she needed to get money for an apartment, and she was dealing with abuse. I know this stuff, right? And that's not a good feeling, and you should never be put in that situation. That's why it's important for you to invest in income streams. Don't ever let nobody tell you no. Don't ever let nobody stop you. Don't ever let nobody deprive you, and don't ever let nobody control you. You know what I mean? And that's why I do
Sure.
this. What'd you say, Andrew?
Oh, same for sure. Building it
Yeah,
into something long term.
yeah, long term. Now, Black Sheep, let me ask you, what made you get out of the phone game?
Um, Ended up finding a new passion, which
Okay.
was trading stocks, which has been a bipolar relationship. But it's just like a new
Bipolar.
passion that I got because it's like I like things where there's infinite possibility. There's no ceiling. Even though it's hard, it's difficult, and it can be very stressful. And I'm still learning. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, bro.
Okay.
That was the new passion. That's what ended up getting me out. And then like another reason why I got out was because like the game changed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like the game really just shifted, and I had been in it for a long time, and so I had like just lost my passion for it, just myself, you know. And then I always love it. Like I always want to go back to it. But
So, yeah, and let me unpack what you just said, because I don't think a lot of people understand how the game changed. So, everybody, let me just tell you something. Getting phones was not hard. Getting phones used to be not hard. Like we talk about negotiating. We talk about people that are trying to like get 550 for an iPhone 15 or 14 locked. I'm telling you right now, like back in the day, there were very, very little objections. I'm telling you, like very little objections, because nobody looked at these phones as that valuable. These phones were $600, 800, maybe 1,000. You know what I mean? Maybe. So it's like now people have just this astronomical evaluation of these devices, and that's what I think he's saying is like it got more difficult to get the phones. Let's be real. It got way more difficult. I never was interested in stocks because I felt like it was manipulated. And also, I think one of the things with me that differs from Black Sheep is I am somebody that like always has been in the phone field, and I've been like just digging in the closet looking for more things that have to do with phones, and I'm one dimensional in that aspect. I will say, like in the electronic industry, like phones, electronics. I haven't really ventured out of it yet, but it's always good to have somebody like Black Sheep that has, because you get to actually see different perspectives. He can bring things he learned in from stocks into phone flipping. You know what I mean? And that's like a benefit. But I asked him that question to let you guys know that, yes, sometimes even though you're making money with phone flipping, it's not worth the headache for some people. Sometimes you have to step away to venture into another income stream. But the beautiful thing is, if I ask him right now, while you were learning how to trade stocks, what was providing you money, I'm sure he's going to say phone flipping, some sort of phone flipping. And that's just how it is, right? Like you take an income stream, you let that make you money, and then you move on to something else. Never stay stagnant, right? Unless this is something that you are teaching other people, like. But let me ask you, Black Sheep, when you're learning stocks, is phone flipping sustaining you at that point, or like how are you eating, like, and you know?
Yeah, that's definitely the foundation.
Okay.
For sure. It's
Okay.
just, you end up learning how to do it to the point where it becomes basically second nature.
Yeah.
And so you're doing it, but you don't really want to do it. But the whole purpose is to like always use it as a foundation. Like you chose to teach it. That's a foundation to build off of it, because that's, you know what I'm saying? You can pass that information on and people can build their foundation off of that. And you'll be able to like change so many people's lives just by sharing like this type of information. But yeah, I definitely did have to have the phones as the foundation, because I wasn't going to be able to make the same amount of money working. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
And then I had got accustomed to moving around. So now I'm not used to having my time, caught up, unless I'm working on something that,
you love, or
it's
you
a
want
business opportunity or this or that, or, you know what I'm saying? Something that I want to do, not something that I'm forced to do. And like, that's what I like wish for everybody. Like they could just do what they want to do and not what they have to do, in terms of like having to work somewhere where they don't want to work. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's like, I better learn the phone flipping game and starting off from an iPhone SE and working your way up if need be.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's better to have your own than to, work, because working, it takes up your time and you can't get that back. Time is the most valuable thing we have. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So,
it gives a lot of flexibility. And I know I think I said this to Brandon the other day, when you do the math, if you can get to where you can average just 2 or 3 devices, potentially on the daily basis, if you build out your networks, etc., you're making far more than you're ever going to make doing some stinking job, and you don't have your time all tied up, etc. You just got to learn how to delegate and build a support structure.
Yeah, and
exactly.
What's good? What's good, bro? Yeah, like, and that's a key, like, to okay. So, and speaking of that, right? Like, let's be really, really transparent. How many, like, because I don't want to come on here, and I don't want to act like phone flipping is all good. Like, let me tell y'all something. It's been plenty of times where, you got not gonna ask Black Sheep this, and I already know the answer. It's been plenty of times. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. When we started out, all of our money was in phones to the point where we ain't had no money. Like literally, like somebody asking you, hey, can I borrow $20? My money not liquid. It's all in phones. Like that stuff happens, and like that's why when I hear anybody complaining just in general about their process, I try to pick them up because it wasn't easy. You know what I mean? And I will say this: when it comes to a job, jobs are very inconvenient for an entrepreneur. But they're also, and the reason I'm saying this is because I do know young people do watch me, and I do want to create a realistic expectation. Jobs are needed for some, okay? Because some people need that type of structure to learn that you got to get your behind up. You know what I mean? You got to get up. You know, because if
I personally look at them as a stepping stone. I mean, they can be necessary, but they shouldn't be long term.
Yeah, for some people, but let's face it, and this is just the honest truth. Everybody's not meant to be a boss. Everybody's not meant to, because I know some people that are really great workers. Like they live to get up and be told what to do. I'm not trying to be smart or play, but I know some people that all they want is a direction. You point them in that direction and they'll go. And everybody that's listening to this, whether it's today, tomorrow, next week, next year, you may be a worker. Like, and that, and the reason I'm saying this is because this is the honest to God truth. You may be a worker. This may not be for you. Okay? Because this takes a whole bunch of failing, being frustrated, losing time with family. Black Sheep, let me ask you something. You still there? Let me ask you something. How much time did you lose from your family? How many relationships did you lose phone flipping?
I'm not wasted a lot of money on relationships.
Distractions.
10.
You know what I mean?
10.
Right, and that's sort of kind of where I think the phone flipping, like people see the result, but they don't understand like the struggle. You feel me? Because like when you're phone flipping, guys, you can't take your girl out on a date all the time. you can't take your kid on vacation because
you can't have romantic nights every week. You're not coming home on time.
You're
You're
not
not picking up the phone. You're not answering the text messages.
Yep.
Like,
you're stressed out.
your
because
mind.
Yeah, on the flip side, if you're working as an employee, you can't necessarily take your kid on a vacation, etc. either.
Oh,
sometimes.
yes, you can. Yes, you can. If you go ahead and get that permission from that person, at least they put
Yeah, but again, you need the permission though.
Exactly. You need that permission, but it's a difference between having permission and knowing that you still got paid time off, you still got PTO, and then knowing that, okay, if I'm going to take that vacation with my family, I need to establish some type of income stream that's going to be consistent to be able to make this money that I'm about to spend on this trip. See, as an entrepreneur, every time that you spend $1, you already are thinking, how am I going to get this dollar back? As an employee, when you spend $1 at the gas station or you spend $1 out to eat with your girl, you already know for a fact that I got 40 hours coming to me next week. If you don't have 40 hours, then you already know, okay, well, maybe my hours is getting cut, but you still have a guarantee. So that's the difference between being an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur, you really don't know. Like, it's time. Like, every dollar I spend, I think about. Like, and that's not how employees do it, because you have some people that live check to check, but it's still comfortable. It's still comfortable.
I get that. I guess my unique perspective on it is I look at time very differently than most people because I realize I only have so much of it left.
I understand that. I do. I understand your position for sure. But again, it's just to the masses is understanding, you know what I mean? Like, there is a sacrifice, you know what I mean? It's a huge sacrifice. 9 times out of 10, you spending 6 years being broke, being an entrepreneur. Let's just be real. Because you make so many mistakes during life. How many apartments you have, Black Sheep? A lot. I know I've had a lot of apartments. Spent a lot of money. Yeah. Like you're not. It's like you're moving around so much. How many states have you lived in? You know what I mean? Like I've lived in maybe 3 states. I think Black Sheep probably is past me like 5. I think, but it's like it's a lot because it's so many mistakes that you make in life that it's like. Usually a job is there to pick your behind up. You know what I mean? It's just there, you know? So, and these are just things that I've learned. You make a lot of mistakes during your come up, you know? So that's the real reason why I'm saying this, guys, is because I literally talk to people and they DM me and they say, Brandon, Educated Hustler, I don't want to have a job. I want to just learn how to do this and do that. And I guess they think that I'm just going to, you know, offer them a product and promise that I'm going to change their lives. But instead, what I say is, no, you need to get a job. You need to get a job if that's the mindset you have. Because if you really don't want to work, then perfect, go to work. Because when you are an entrepreneur, what you going to do when you say, I don't want to run my company today? What you going to say when I don't want to get up? I honestly don't feel like being on this live. I honestly don't feel like doing half of the things that I do because you get so exhausted, you know what I mean? And you have you have personal things happening in life. And the good thing about a job, if you got something personal happening in your life, at least you know, okay, well, all I got to do is sell phones today at T-Mobile and be able to make a paycheck at least. So it's like, it's a lot, but switching subjects, I just want you guys to know, like, and Andrew, you've been through this recently, like, and I'm proud of you. You didn't give up. Like, it's going to be hard patches. You didn't give up, and you figured it out.
I've given up a number of times before over the years. That's why I told somebody the other day in Discord when they said they're 15 years old trying to do this, and I said, "Good for you." I said, I took too long. I'm 46 and I don't have a lot of time left based on health. So stick with it by the time you're 30. Don't give up.
Yeah. And that's really what it is. And I'm just,
because time is too valuable. You can give up, 15 years from the time you're 15 to 30, or you can give up all the way from 18 to 70. It's a lot more time as an employee.
Just saying. For sure. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
Plus you have to give yourself over to willing subservience, and that's just not in my nature.
Oh, definitely not. I understand that. But you want to know something? A lot of people have problems with authority. And
I do too. I do as well. So
yeah, so let me say this, right? A lot of people have problems with authority, and I think that is one of the traits in an entrepreneur. Like me, I have a problem with authority in general. Like I do. Well, I did, but now I think as I grow, and I realize like the discipline that I need to have for certain things. Like today, I got in a fight not a fight, but I got into a verbal altercation today with somebody at a basketball court, and the guy was trash. He's a bum, but I didn't feel like sticking defense. So I just let him. I didn't think he could shoot. And I just got on the court. I didn't think he could shoot. He just threw it up, made it. He won the game. It was me not playing defense. All my other teammates was playing defense. I just didn't feel like playing defense. I didn't care. I didn't really feel like it, right? But he got off the court and then he was like, you not like that, da-da-da, and just talking. And what I did was I became a weak individual, and I let somebody talking trash, knowing what my worth is and knowing exactly what I do. I let somebody talk trash to get me to talk and combat back with them, and it looked like two fools arguing, right? And the reason I bring this up is because when we rebel against authority, we then become a fool, just like the person that is trying to put the authority on us. And the reason I say this, right, is because the IRS, prime example. As an entrepreneur, the IRS is definitely going to be something you don't like to deal with, especially when you 1099ing people and you're making a lot of money. Just seeing your money go away is very depressing. And people tend to skip this and pay for it later. The reason I'm saying this is, as an entrepreneur that is growing while also growing as a man, I'm learning that more will come when you understand to not let your pride get in the way. And all of us that
Can you unpack the
Go ahead.
Can you unpack the 1099 comment as far as, you're talking about the IRS and the 1099 thing? Are you talking about setting it up and then setting aside the money, or what are you referencing there exactly?
So 1099 is just that's a tax form that you give independent contractors, so people that you hire. Everybody I hire is an independent contractor because I don't want to take taxes out of their check. Instead, I've taken taxes out of their check. I allow them to get their full check and set the money aside. So a 1099 is something that I have to file, but here's the thing. When you have employees and you're doing a 1099, there's certain rules and regulations you have to follow. And these rules and regulations are like, you have to have a schedule. No, you can't have them on a schedule. So you can't have them on you come in at 8 a.m. and then you leave at this time. Like, it's certain little minute things that if you do, you're going to have to pay the taxes and they're going to be able to run away with the money. I'm talking about the employees. But like, being rebellious and saying, man, I'm going to just get the best of both worlds. I'm going to 1099 them and I'm going to give them a schedule, because a 1099 is an independent contractor. So that is somebody that is independent of you. They're not somebody that works for you. They're somebody that is working using a service, or you're using their service and you're paying them. Which it's a whole bunch of different. It's like more in depth. But regardless, it's just me not wanting to follow the rules technically because I feel as though I don't need to. But it always leads into more BS. So that's sort of kind of what I mean. Like, as I grow, I'm learning just to do the right thing. Just do the right thing, even though it might hurt your pockets a little bit. And that's sort of kind of where I think this phone flipping thing has put me in a direction, because now it's like doing the right thing is using my brain, and not just still outside in the streets hustling, getting phones. It's more so doing it the smart route, making sure that I'm actually utilizing the right tools instead of being just sporadic and doing dumb stuff. That's what
building infrastructure, so to speak.
Yeah, and that's like, honestly, man, that's honest to God something that I've had really in the past, not now, but I've had a hard time doing. Is just understanding how to let my pride and my rebellion, because I'm very rebellious. Like, I'm very rebellious. But you can't be too rebellious. It doesn't, and what I mean by that, guys, whoever's listening, you know that you are a smart, strong, self-loving individual when you let somebody think that they're the boss of you and walk away, or let somebody think they got the best of you and you let them walk away, knowing who you are. Okay, knowing internally who you are, but letting that other person that thinks they're this and that walk away. And that has to do with negotiations too, because there's so many negotiations people walk away thinking they just the ish, and they told me. Yeah, I told him I wasn't taking that price. He got the wrong person. Okay. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just gotta let people walk away and let them feel themselves and think they the ish. Because I don't argue with broke people. And it doesn't have anything to do with money. It has to do with a mindset. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm learning. Because I used to be a very hot-headed, very. So, it's always about, just learning. And that's where I think, as entrepreneurs, we definitely got to continue to grow. But But yeah, Black Sheep, you got anything else to say? Then I'm gonna go to you, Andrew. You got anything else to say? We're gonna end this thing soon in a second.
I definitely enjoyed having you though.
What to point out that's also, a downfall that is one of the most important things that we didn't harp on was security.
Yes.
Not be getting robbed, not, unfortunately, we know some people that have lost their lives, people have broken into their houses and taken their lives over phones.
Yeah.
And you just got to be careful out there. Always stick and move, always look at your surroundings, and always just pay attention to where you're going, and always be skeptical, especially when you're getting the money and selling stuff and selling the phones. And don't trust too much. Just be vigilant.
Yeah, definitely be vigilant. We know people that have got robbed. We know buyers that have got robbed. We know buyers that have got robbed several times. So just be careful for sure. That's a definite. What about you, Andrew?
I was going to say I don't necessarily identify with what you were talking about, arguing with people because of mindset, so to speak, on negotiation. But I will say something that I can kind of relate to on a different level was years ago when I was in my late teens, early 20s, I took traditional Okinawan karate. And one of the things I read was a book called Zen Pen and Sword, and it was about a story about a Zen master, a pair of them that were walking, and they came to a river, and there was this lady, and the older one picked up the lady and carried her across the river. And the two Zen priests continued along their way, and after a little while, the younger priest looks over at the older priest and snaps. He goes, "How could you dare to touch her? That's against our doctrine and our beliefs, etc." And the older master Zen priest looked at the younger and goes, "I put her down at the river. Are you still carrying her?"
That's deep. I
So
like that one.
carrying, I understand not carrying the baggage. That part I get and agree with, so to speak.
Yeah. So
The other thing, the other thing I would say, commenting to Black Sheep's closing comments, and I apologize if you get grumpy about this, but I was commenting in a couple of videos, I think today, where I was like, "What are you doing meeting in a parking lot, Brandon? You need to meet somewhere where there's cameras, dude." Don't be doing that. Meet somewhere where there's cameras indoors, or like even at a gas station under the pumps where they have cameras, And never meet. I don't care if it's in their yard, if it's in their front porch, whatever. Never meet at a house, for God's sakes.
Never. And so what I'll say in my closing remarks, I think both of you guys have great perspectives, great heads on your shoulders for sure. When it comes to the negotiation part, Andrew, that you said you didn't understand, it's just basically all I was harping on is really cruel people out there. And it was a point in time in my life where I would co-on offer up, and all I would do in the morning time is argue with people about prices. Now I don't argue with people. I just let them be great. If they feel as though they need to tell me F me or some type of insult, I let them be great. Because it happens a lot. It does. It happens a lot in person. At my store, it happens just a lot. You just have to just know when to let people feel like they won. That's what I meant. But and that took me a long time to deal with. I'm saying a long time.
I know you said in a video where I can't remember exactly how you put it, where you were talking about how you open the dialogue or the framework, as we argued about. I can do blank, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I personally found when I was approaching it with that not open-ended, but like direct statement, so to speak, I got cussed out and laughed at more than I can name. So what I've been doing in my negotiations now is I open up instead with open-ended questions to probe and learn about the device, etc. And then I go with something along the lines of, is that the best you can do? Or another line that I'll use is, well, based on the market, I can't do X, but I can do this. How would that work for you?
Gotcha. And whatever works for you works for you. You know what I mean? I don't.
Yeah.
I'm happy. But about the baggage, yes. Don't have any baggage. I'm learning that as we speak, to just not carry baggage and forgive people and just keep, guys. Good business is always good. You know what I mean? But with that, guys, I am getting off. I
Have
had
a good night, man.
wonderful conversation with you
To
all.
meet you, Red Emperor.
Yeah, it was good. It was good chatting with you, Black Sheep.
Yeah, hopefully we can get you back on, man, and this can be a weekly occurrence. If you know what I mean, we can all talk and figure things out, and more people will join eventually. So
Yes, sir.
definitely appreciate both of your time. I do. I appreciate it more than you guys know. So thank you.
Before we get off, Branding, do you think we could have like a 5-minute chat? Because I needed to ask you a quick question after the call. I mean,
Yeah, that's fine. All right, guys.
cool.
All right. I'm about to get off here, y'all. You guys take care and be safe and make